Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video on the JustKenshi channel. So, in today's video, I'll be doing a comparison video. Now, I did one of these 4 months ago, and that video, I basically compared Peroxide, Type Soul, Reaper 2, and Project Megetsu. Now, Project Megetsu has not updated since the Yuha event, so I will replace it with Paradox. Now, Paradox is releasing around the 22nd of this month, and so far I've completed the entire grind for Soul Reaper in the game, and I can give a honest opinion on the grinding and PvP and PvE so far from everything I played on that game. Now, how I'm going to be comparing them. So I'm going to compare them from progression, how easy progression is for each game, and how unique it is, and lastly the two smaller topics, which is PvE and PvP. So yeah, let's jump into it. So, how I'm going to rank progression for each game. Now, so far, basically, from what I'm going to rank it is, in the last place, I'm going to have Reaper 2. Now, I have nothing against Reaper 2. I started my entire channel off Reaper 2. Now, the reason I have Reaper 2 down here is basically because Reaper 2 has nothing interesting other than just, grinding up levels and stuff. There's nothing interesting other than just getting the prestige and then bandit beating your way back to max level. There's nothing unique for Reaper 2, so basically that's why I have it here. Then, Type Soul is the other one. Type Soul is basically you just do board missions, which is basically bandit beating. And then at a certain point, you're going to have to do like grips and stuff. So, I guess that is more unique than Reaper 2 because it makes a combination between PvE and PvP. Now, Reaper 2 doesn't have something like that, so Reaper 2 is just merely just PvE until you're at max level, then you go into ranked. But with Type Soul, you have to actually do like combat, or you can just get an alt and grip it, but yeah. Then after that, we're going to have Paradox. Now, Paradox for a new game is pretty interesting because it is a game that gives you a lot of freedom. It's a game that makes you pick whatever type of mission you are most comfortable doing. If you want to do a carry mission, basically, where you have to guide the NPC, or you want to do a hunt down mission, which is PvP, where you go to Hueco Mundo and you hunt down wrong cards. There's basically a lot of interesting stuff that you can actually do in Paradox. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with the PvE quest and the PvP quest. They give a lot of freedom to pick whatever you want to do. It's not like random like Type Soul, where you just get a random mission at any point. Then the reason I have Peroxide over is because Peroxide is the best Bleach game when it comes to progression, because it gives you a lot of stuff to do. For example, you can just do the stat boards, or you can just go to the gym, farm for stats. There's a lot of freedom that you have with Peroxide. There's a lot of equivalent than just, farming boards and stuff that you can do in Peroxide. For example, you can do Storm cards, which give you a lot of levels. There's a lot of freedom that Peroxide has. And the reason I have Peroxide over is because Peroxide has the most unique stuff. Because out of all these games, none of these games have the stuff that Peroxide have. For example, Peroxide has Vasto Rage. No other Bleach game has Vasto Rage. Yes, they may have the model for the Vastalorde Ichigo, but that is not Vasto Rage. Now, I know Reaper 2 have Diabolos, but it's not an evolution for Soul Reapers like how it was for Ichigo. It's just a separate thing for Hollows. Now, the reason I have it over here is because Peroxide is the best game when it comes to actually adding canon stuff. For example, the Horn of Salvation. Even though I hate the obtainment that you need to do for Horn of Salvation, I'm glad that Horn of Salvation was really well made in this game. Now, I know Reaper 2 did add Horn of Salvation with True Zangetsu, but that's only locked behind True Zangetsu, so it's not for everybody else. But for everybody else in Peroxide, you can actually get Horn of Salvation, which I do like in that game. Now, that's basically it for progression. Out of all of the games, I just think that Peroxide has the most fun and the most unique stuff in it when you're progressing the game. Especially if you're Soul Reaper, you're going to have a blast with Peroxide. But Paradox is still in its early stages, and in the future they could add the same stuff that Peroxide added and even better. They can make Horn of Salvation even better, because right now, getting Visored in Paradox is the easiest thing I've ever done. Like, if you guys want to see the full guide for it, I made a video 2 days ago, I think. Now, on to PvP. Now, PvP for these games is very tricky because, for one, each of these games have a very different combat style. A lot of them focus on ragdoll, a lot of them focus on other stuff. Now, how I'm going to rank PvP for these games is basically the game with the worst PvP at the current moment is basically Reaper 2. Reaper 2 is very outdated compared to all the other games. It's very slow compared to other games. Like Flash Tips in Reaper 2 is literally slow. Like when I was recording my video for Reaper 2, I just realized how slow Reaper 2 was compared to the newer Bleach games. Now, other than that, the other game for PvP, I would put Paradox here. Now, Paradox, yes, it is new and it focuses a lot on PvP, but right now the game is very unbalanced because basically I've been fighting some people and Around cards are way too broken. For example, the way how Paradox works basically is the more potential you have, the more damage you do, and the more HP you have. So basically, I had 250 potential, and I fought a Max Darankar, and I didn't even know he was Max, because my quest was to hunt down this Darankar. And basically, I hope they fix this in the future, whenever they do release, that you pair up, when you do the hunt missions for the story periods, when you have to go hunt an Darankar, I'm praying that they make it so that you fight people around your potential, because I was going to hunt this guy down, and he was max level. I was doing no damage, and tell me why one Sarah from him did half my health. But anyways, yes, right now the PvP is very unbalanced at the current moment, because potential is like a big thing in that game. But yeah, then after that I have Peroxide. Peroxide combat is spammy. It's just literally just spam. If you play Peroxide, you will know Peroxide combat is spam. There's nothing that I need to say about this. It's literally just spam. But yeah, then Type Soul has the best combat at the current moment. Even though Type Soul has been ruining itself with all these broken stuff that the game has been adding, like all these broken story for weapons that have been added, and black flashes and stuff, like basically the game has ruined itself, but we're not talking about that. But yeah, at the current moment, Type Soul has the best PvP out of all the Bleach games at the current moment. But yeah, now on to PvE. But yeah, for PvE, the game with the worst PvE at the current moment is Type Soul, because Type Soul, like the NPCs always bug out. Whenever I play in Type Soul, and everyone say it as well, the NPCs are just buggy in Type Soul. Like they just bug out like majority of the boss fights or Bankais and stuff. They literally just break. But yeah. Then after that we have Reaper 2. Now Reaper 2 is actually insane to say this, but Reaper 2 has better PvE than Type Soul, which is it's just crazy to say, because Reaper 2 is very, very old, but for some reason Reaper 2 NPCs are still functioning compared to Type Soul ones. But yeah, now other than that we have Paradox. Now Paradox is very new, and I could say one thing for sure is that they're almost there as the Peroxide levels of NPCs, because the NPCs in Paradox are actually really hard to fight, because they know how to parry and they know how to use their moves and stuff, so you're gonna have a hard time finding these things. So yeah. But the reason I have Peroxide as number 1 is because of how crazy the NPCs are in Peroxide. If anyone, like literally anyone who played Peroxide knows how literally broken the NPCs are in Peroxide. Like the NPCs for the Twin Souls, I was on the verge of breaking my monitor finding my Twin Souls, trying to master it, because literally my Twin Soul was beating me up over and over and over, and the Bankai fights are literally insanity. Well, the Segunda fight is probably the easiest one, but the Bankai fight and the Twin Souls fight literally had me on the verge of breaking my monitor. And the Oasis boss fight, bro, yes, the Peroxide NPCs are literally just a different breed. I don't know who made the AIs, but bravo to them, whoever made the AIs. But some people were actually some maniacs. Like some people were actually beating these bosses first try with 0 difficulty. Meanwhile, I was struggling to even kill my Twin Souls. But yeah, tell me guys thoughts on which game you think is the best in the comments below. Tell me guys if you agree with my points on these games. But yeah, KenShi sign off. Love y'all and peace.